Hello there, everyone. TheAndrata here, and welcome back to episode 77 of our Enigmatica 6 Let's Play series, where today we are continuing on with our pneumatic craft. Processing. Yep. Okay, so we are going to work on getting our oil or our LPG fluid done. A couple of caveats with LPG fluid, or a couple of things to note. We can pump LPG fluid into here, and it'll be much better than lava. It's actually the best at an 1800 milliliters of air per millibucket of LPG, and it's a 1.25 burn rate. Yeah, also these things are starting to fill up as expected. We are starting to run a little low on coal on these, so let's go ahead and grab, 2 stacks, and that should be able to top all of these off. Close enough. So these are going to burn through, like the upgrade warns us. It is inefficient to let them go because they're just going to release it and they're going to keep burning, but that's okay for now. Because what we need to do is pop up and out and go somewhere where we can set up a fuel refinery. And I say our reactor area is going to be a good spot for that. Let's go ahead and take a nap. I think I have my sleeping bag on us in case, nighttime comes again, as it does, every day. But yeah, I think this area will be fine. We're going to have our nuclear reactor set up over here, and nuclear power and dirty power, they go hand in hand, don't they? Yeah. So anyway, our refinery controller is going to need to be set up, and I right clicked this and it lagged the heck out. Just saying, don't know why. But it did. And we need to put our refinery outputs on top of this guy. 3, 4. And then we need to pump our crude oil and give this some pressure. This doesn't need pressure, right? I'm going to assume, or does it just need heat? Need to be stacked on top of each other, pump fluid into the refinery. We do have fluid available to us. I need to go back to our base though real quick and pop downstairs and change this from a pull to a push. As you can see here, we have 300 buckets of crude oil. I didn't go that far to get it, but we need to reverse this and have it push over to this tank. So that way we get oil going back into our ender tank, and we'll see how this works. Like, how much is this going to actually use? And we'll go from there. So ender tank here, set to output. It should start filling this up. And no, it doesn't require any pressure, it doesn't seem. Just heat. So that's where the pressure comes from, is our vortex tubes. Vortex tubes do require heat. Now these recipes are not too expensive. But we are going to need quite a few of them. Refined pipe. Not refined. Pneumatic pipe. Didn't I teach the system how to make these? Are you not called pipes? Tubes. Recipe for you is more compressed iron. To home we go. We need to teach our system how to make compressed iron. Gosh, just looking up and seeing all those sharks up there swimming around us I just think that's so awesome. Compressed iron. So compressed iron is recommended to be made in a compressed iron block first, which is not you. You go into a pressure chamber. A block of iron goes into the pressure chamber. So that is you. And it is recommended to do it this way. That way you're not wasting pressure for the doors opening and closing and opening and closing. So if we put this in here and we say we want compressed iron and we want 5 of those, that should put 5 blocks of iron in here, compress it, and then kick it back. And that one's going to open. And now, question is, how do we uncompress this? It's just a simple recipe. Okay. So now we can just teach the system that recipe. Or Or we can have this go into a, I was going to say we can put it in the compacting drawer, but it's really, we're not going to be having that much of this stuff. Usage of you is that. And I don't know when we're going to need blocks of this stuff other than when we're actually doing this processing. So vortex tubes, go ahead and make that. That's you. So we have 4. So we're going to want 1, 2, 3, 12 total vortex tubes. So let's actually just go ahead and teach the recipe for vortex tubes so that I can request this through the system. Because if it needs to craft iron, then that way it can without me having to sit here and control click. So we need 9 more of these. We need 8 more of these. And it is going to have to craft 1 block of the compressed iron. Oh, we're so close. We're going to want compressors. And we're just going to go with the basic air compressor. And let's get like, I don't know, quite a few of these. Let's teach the system how to make this too. Compressor. And let's teach it how to make safety or security valves. So I don't want to deal with security upgrades. I just don't want to deal with the crafting of these. Nope. Excuse me. It's you. And levers. I guess I never taught the system how to make levers. Maybe I did. Maybe I'm duplicating a recipe. I don't know. I probably could shift click these in there. Did I have levers in here? They're not jumping out at me, so I don't think so. And then security upgrades. Let's just get like 10 of these just to have them on hand. Air compressor. So we need to run all of these vortex. Let's do 6. Do we think that's going to be enough? Let's try it. We'll do 6. Air compressors. And we'll do 3 and 3, something like that. We're also going to need tubes. Just go ahead and craft me a stack of tubes, please. And then let's go out to our reactor and let's see what this is all going to entail. So vortex tubes. Vortex tubes have a sidedness to them, right? So you got a red side, you got a blue side, you got a hot side, you got a cold side. We are interested in the heat. So we want to make sure that we place these in such a way that the red side faces, or we should be able to wrench this if, there we go. Okay, so we need to place these all along this. Not that. I love the sound of this. It's a pneumatic tool, so. Oh my goodness, come on. Do the thing. Here we go. There we go. And then we need the other ones. I wish these placed the other way, and then I wouldn't have to play mechanic on them. And then these ones can go. Actually, we could get 4 more and just surround this whole thing. And we're going to get tubes, and I need more tubes, and I did request tubes. So we'll take our tubes and hook them all up here. You're going to come here, and then should we get 4 more vortex tubes and put them in the front? Sure. Vortex tubes. Oh, you know what there is? There's heat sink. That's what there is. There's a heat sink. Disperses heat. It only connects to the block when an air grate tube module is pointed at it. Doesn't this help with the cold? We'll find out. We'll find out how we're doing with this. And then if we need to go crazy with insulation, we will. Okay, I guess I'm jumping. Rotate you. Then we're going to set these pipes up here. Okay, so we're going to have that there. It doesn't look pretty, but it'll work. And then we're going to set up 3 sets of machines for each side. Just rough guesstimating. And then security upgrades for each one of these. You. 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 I don't know why I kept those in my inventory. And then a bunch of coal, basically 6 stacks, and we're going to start this thing cooking. Oh, we may be able to, I was going to say, we might be able to tick accelerate this to really kickstart it, but yeah, maybe not. Maybe not the best idea. All right, so temperature should be climbing, and the hotter it gets, the better it will be. Apply more heat. 1 of 24 block faces are exposed to the air, which wastes heat. Ensure no neighboring blocks are air blocks. So then we should insulate this using cobblestone. So is that like this? Does any block work? I'm just winging this. I don't know if the pipe counts as an insulating block either, but we're going to cover that too. This is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is an ugly block. But it's going to be covered. How does this look from a distance? Oh, that is just absolutely beautiful. This is something that maybe should be built into the ground. But hey, it is what it is. It's here now. It's staying here. Yeah, that is just beautiful. Can I even get to you? Yes. Apply more heat. All right, well, start generating heat. Do the thing. Y'all are like, you're running. I can't access any of the vacuum tubes to see, like, what's your temperature at? East temperature, 104 degrees Celsius. So y'all should be getting going. It's just taking some time, it looks like. Maybe. We do have LPG generating, gasoline, and kerosene. Question is, how do I get these things out of there without having to do this part? This is just hilarious. And this whole thing is hilarious. All right, let's look into those heat sinks, because I know that those can also help. Not that heat sink, but this heat sink. Let's put these on one of these guys and see how this does for our process. So you are, yeah. You're just warming up, aren't you? I thought it was the heat sinks. Maybe let's look in our book, you know? They did give us this thing. Based on real world physics, it splits the air flowing into it into hot and cold parts, heating up one side and cooling down the other. Beware that the hot and cold sides do have a thermal connection, so it's more efficient to vent the cold side when you want to utilize the heat, and vice versa. If you want to use the cold, this can be done with a heat sink. And vice versa if you want to use the cold. This can be done with a heat sink. Be aware that the hot and cold sides do have a thermal connection, so it's more efficient to vent the cold side when you want to utilize the heat. Yes. So a heat sink does help. Sneak to view. I did. You can increase the effectiveness of a heat sink by placing it in range of an air grate module. The module's range is displayed when you attach it to a pressure tube. Yeah. Hot end will face towards you. This can be done with a heat sink. So let's make some more heat sinks. Let's go for it. Heat sink. Like, is this going to be significant? And also, does this count as an insulating block? Or is this thing going to be crying again? Apply more heat. Required temperature is over 100 degrees Celsius. Do you think our pressurized tubes just can't keep up? Or our air compressors? Because we can fix that. We can easily add on another 6 for now. We have the coal. It's not that big of a deal. Compressed iron. Go ahead and make me a stack of that so I can make some more heat sinks. Is this the most efficient way to do this? Absolutely not. But it's the way we are going to do it. My bad. What did I tell you? Before you actually hook up your systems that require pressure, set them up properly. Once we get into the ones that take RF, we could swap this all out for one RF powered one, and it will pull and make as much pressure as it needs to using RF. Heat sink. That's you. Should have just taught the system how to make these two. That's 5. I control clicked, please. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, something like that. I don't remember exactly how many did we set up? 12, 24 of these. So then it should be you. And then you. And then lastly, it should be you. And I need 3 more. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you guys are all heat synced up. So there should be no more complaints about heat. Oh yeah, look at that now. 158. We're cranking our heat out. We're just using a lot of coal to do so. So now we're getting diesel, kerosene, gasoline, and LPG. Now gasoline, what are all these other things used for? Gasoline usage. You can go into a mixer and make napalm. It's lovely. We can thermopneumatic process it at higher than 300 degrees to get LPG. We can obviously store it. It's good in a compression dynamo. Okay. That's gasoline. LPG is the one that we actually want. So you are diesel, kerosene, gasoline. Kerosene. What are you used for? To make gasoline. So basically it looks like it's a process. So we could convert diesel into kerosene, and then kerosene into gasoline, and then gasoline into LPG, so we could up our LPG production, or we could just use the LPG as is. Plastic requires us to have 100 millibuckets with some coal to make LPG. So that's not that terrible. 100 millibuckets with coal. So right now, like, we have 7 sheets of plastic. Plus this thing will continue to run and be more efficient the more temperature we get. We do have the potential to have like 4,000 LPG though, but each one of these processes requires one of these, and each one has to be over 300 degrees Celsius. That's the issue, is the temperature. How do we get it up above temperature for each one of these? So we would need 1, 2, 3, and then end with the LPG. And then all you are used for is making plastic. or in our machine. Part of me wants to do it and automate all of those things because, well, it seems to be a waste to not. So we would need to make a total of 4 of these. One, two, yeah, a total of 4 to get the plastic, but 3 of them to process all of this stuff. So let's head back to our base. Let's go ahead and chunk load this area. And I built it on 2 chunks. Didn't it say, you know, not to build into 2 chunks specifically for this mod? I think it did. My bad. Quests. I've kind of blew past. Well, not really. Anyway, let's go ahead and teach the system. Pneumatic processing plant. It's going to be these small fluid tanks and reinforced slabs, which is this recipe. Incorrect. That recipe. Okay. So that is both of you in there. And then just because I don't want to do the work, you. By the way, if I didn't mention it before, this thing uses like 10,000 RF tick, this wireless transmitter that's cross dimension. So just keep that in mind. Pneumatic processing plant. We needed 4 of those, I said. So let's get these going. And we're going to need vortex tubes, at least 4. Oh man, this is going to start using a lot of... There's a vortex cannon. Shoots air vortices, harmless projectiles which repel entities, shear animals, and destroy plants and leaves. Interesting. These vortex tubes, getting these up to 300 is going to be the issue, I think. We're just going to set it up with 1 and see... Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. We're going to set it up with 1 and go from there. Our quest book wanted us to make them. TPP for short. This machine uses a combination of heat and pressure to transform solids and liquids. It has even found use in the kitchen in recent years. Placing the machines in a row allows them to share both heat and pressure through their sides. Okay, that's good to know. Diesel to LPG. Consider converting some of your other fuels. Molten plastic. Lubricant bucket. How do you make lubricant? That is biodiesel or diesel. So maybe our diesel should be converted to lubricant and then everything else can get upgraded. I say that sounds like a good plan. Okay, so we're going to have to get the liquid out of this somehow, and I don't exactly know how to do that either. Like, how do you pipe the liquid out? I think you have to pipe it out of each individual refinery into each machine. Well, these are small, cute little guys. Look at them there. They're not too big at all. Pressure tubes. And do as I say and as I do right now, because I'm going to try and set these up properly. Yes, that is me, TheAndrata. Did not mean to press that button. It kind of messed up my whole vibe there. Okay, so pressure tubes. You can all go on the bottom, or... Excuse me. We're going to need vortex tubes, and we're going to need to pipe fluids in. Vortex tubes on the top. Does that sound like a good plan? So we're going to have pressure coming in there, and we'll have pressure come in here as well, so we can split. So we kind of have both sides working on both at the same time. I know, hush it. Leave me alone. All right, so these guys should start getting pressure. Probably want more security upgrades. Plus, I need more security upgrades for the 6 machines that we put up top earlier anyway. Because, again, I don't know how much pressure we're actually going to end up generating with all of that. And I do not want block disassembly to take place if we start backstuffing on all our pressure. especially since we don't have a pressure chamber here. And again, I don't foresee that because the vortex tubes will just keep sucking the pressure away, but it is what it is. Anyway, okay, so these guys should have their pressure now, and their temperatures are going to be extremely low. Does pressure transfer through a vortex tube? Pressure transfers through, actually. Ooh. It said they do share pressure, don't they? So this actually having two here is not necessarily needed, but that's okay. Vortex tubes. Let's put these on the back. Is that viable? Okay. Y'all are just completely wrong. And you guys are going to start getting hot pretty quick. But we need to turn you. Please just do what I want. You hear that little psst as it lost power? Remember, I do have a shrinkerator, so I could, you know, shrink myself. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So now you guys should be heating up. You're also going to need insulated. We're going to want 4 more heat sinks. One, two. It's going to take a bit for that to craft those. So let's get the heat sinks. And then there is oh man, we need an insulator too. There's like, if I remember correctly, there's insulating glass that you can use that I would like to use because it looks nicer. Then again, this setup is not very nice looking in the first place. So yeah, it's industrial. Look at those industrial cobble. So these need to all get up to 300 degrees. 3 of 6 block faces are exposed to air. Okay. So in the book, we should be able to find thermal lagging. Lose heat to air. Yeah, thermal lagging. It requires wool. Well, I guess we're just gonna. Well, that's all the wool we have. That's unfortunate. So we put this here, yeah, and it's transparent, and it counts to block out the loss of heat. So I just need to get some on the top. I don't know if the pipes count, but I'm going to assume that they do. But these will stop losing heat now, and you can click through. Yes. So we need to get them hot. Add valid ingredients. Yeah, we need to get these even hotter than they are now. What's the best way to do that? Another set of vortex tubes, but I don't think so. Heat. Let's go look in the book. Like, what's the best way to get heat? Heat. Spreads from block. Disperses from hotter. Blocks only spread heat to adjacent blocks to support the concept of heat. The bigger the temperature difference, the faster the dispersal. Insulation. No faces are exposed to air blocks. Any non-conducting block will do. Trapdoors and slabs work fine. Produce heat that needs to be dissipated, and some require, therefore you need to find ways to manipulate the temperature of items. So we can do slabs, it said. So let's get some slabs of just stone for now until we can get that liquid piped out. And that should help. But we need more heat. And I think it's a pressure issue. We have so many of these vortex tubes running to keep this going, and then now to keep that going. And look, yeah, we've stabilized here at about 158 degrees Celsius, and so have these things, I think. Let me access that, please. No, excuse me. You just let me do it before. Yeah, and you guys are at 207. Well, you're slowly climbing. I guess what I'll do is I'll let this sit for a little bit and see where we end up, because we need 300 degrees Celsius, and I still need to figure out how to pipe out of this guy, the refinery controller. Without, I mean, these vortex tubes getting torn down, I don't know how well that would work, because we are barely maintaining our temperature here anyway. So yeah. Anyway, but that's it for this episode. So we got this set up here, and we're working on getting our fuels processed, and then we'll get our LPG dumped to our base and go from there. So yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and I really do appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a good one.